Welcome to another edition of the Radio Coffee House Show, where Jesus meets coffee meets talk radio. And the next one starts right now. All right, what's up, everybody? Clint Armitage with the Radio Coffee House, back again for one more show. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for listening in. Again, we have my buddy Abel Hernandez in the studio. We're going to be talking about the topic of marriage, and he has a pretty strong stance on it, and it may be controversial. As a matter of fact, I know it's going to be controversial, and so he's going to give his opinion on it. I'm going to give my opinion on it, and we're going to kind of just talk about it and see where we end up. Now, again, this may be controversial, so try not to get triggered by this show. Let's get into it. All right, thanks everybody for coming back and listening to the show at the Radio Coffee House. Again, I'm your host, Clint Armitage, and I have my buddy in here, like I said in the intro, Abel Hernandez. He was here for a show, and now he's here for another show, and this is another topic that we actually do not agree on. And the topic is marriage and the belief in marriage and what we think it is, what it isn't, how women play a part in the marriage, how men play a part in the marriage. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So again, I know he has strong views on this. And so we're going to just give our opinions and see where we come out of this. Here we go. Let's get into it. Abel, thanks for coming back to the studio.
How you doing? Abel Hernandez here.
All right. So again, the topic is marriage. And so let's talk about your belief in marriage and let's see where you stand on it.
I'll just start off with, I've had a clothing company since 1995. So business for me was a big deal since I was 15, selling Mexican candy at a junior high school and this and that. So I love the business part of the hustle. And the reason why I bring that up is because I think marriage is a business. And I'm never going to invest in a different company for business if there's only a 25% success rate in that business that someone's proposing to me for me to invest in. So to me, marriage, I don't know exactly what the numbers are, but I know the success rate is not more than 30%, 40%, whatever it may be, but it's still under 50%, and that for business is not good. So that's how I just think of things like that because of the mentality that I have. And another thing that I know, I've never been married. And the reason why, I'm 50 years old, and growing up, until I got to 50, I've seen a lot of divorcees, boys, girls, different reasons, some cheating, some money, some whatever it may be, but they lost houses, they lost their kids, and by the way, I mean men. Because in marriage, men have nothing to gain with the marriage. Because at the end of the day, they lose it all. Even though they earned it all, they lose it all because that's just the way our system is. And again, it's bad for business, meaning if you're going to lose all this over a success rate of 40% or 35%, then why get into it? I have a daughter. She's going to be 18. The person I had a baby with wasn't a marriage or nothing, so she can't take anything from me. I own a home. I own, cars. I have no threat of her taking me to the bank for anything. I just have to pay for my child. And people that do get married have so much to lose, especially the men. And for my friends, guys and girls, I speak to them. And why did you get married in the first place? A lot of them is because, like I spoke in the other podcast, about religious reasons. Their parents are Catholic, and you can't have a kid and not be married. So I think they're sinning already, where they're already pregnant, but then they get married before the kid is born, and they think that's okay to do. To me, I think that's just being a hypocrite. And, that's the first part of what I feel in that sense. So when I look at all these things, it's like, how is this great? The government always controls the beginning of the before your wedding and your divorce. The government controls that. You have no say in anything. They put all that together. The government doesn't care or know about your relationship, your kids, your households, or anything, but they have something to do with the beginning and the end of your marriage. So again, that is very heartfelt for me, and I just don't agree with it. So therefore, if I don't like what that feels like, then don't do it. So therefore, I choose not to believe in marriage.
Okay, and that's where, obviously, well, not obviously, but that's where we disagree because we look at it in two different ways. So I'm I'm thinking that you are looking at this at a total 100% human nature, earthly type of proposition, marriage as a business, right? Mm-hmm. And I look at it as also a spiritual thing because, like, in the Bible, it says that a man and a woman will come together, right? A man will leave his mother and father and come together with his wife. And so it's a spiritual union that actually recreates a kind of a union between not only the husband and the wife, but also God. And it's something that can be blessed by God. Now, I also feel, though, that people could be called to live a life of no marriage. Now, that, to me, it comes with some, I don't know if I'd call it restrictions, but it would come with some standards if you are a believer and you believe what the Bible says and you believe what marriage is. But I also believe that some people may not be called to marriage. So if that's the case, then that's okay too. Now, in terms of when you're saying that marriage is a business, then there's no actual, I guess, love or emotion into it. There may be emotion, like you would have emotion with your business propositions or business interactions, but there can't be love in business.
Well, let me tell you one thing. There is love in business for the fact that I live in a neighborhood where obviously it's Southeast San Diego and there's, as they say, liquor stores in every corner. And it's true. But those liquor stores are not owned by a Northgate Market or nothing. They're just liquor stores that's been there throughout my childhood, and the people's been there since, I was a kid buying Now Laters. If you guys know what that is, Now Laters, a candy. And they still work there. Their family works there. Their kids work there now. They're this and that. They've been owned by the same people. And yeah, they have nice cars, nice houses, this and that. But where do we go get our food, our last minute items on Christmas Day, on Christmas Eve, on Thanksgiving, on New Year's, this and that? 7-Elevens were known to, open 24/7. But these local liquor stores, they never let us down. They're open because, we need, some stuffing. We need last minute. But while their store is open, they have a passion for their job and they put in what they get out. They get people like us from the local neighborhoods to appreciate them for staying open. But they're not with their family. They're not with their friends. They're not eating a warm dinner like we're about to. They have to be at their property because that's their job. And that's where I think you have a passion for that, because they know that people last minute are going to need something for their stores. Not only beer, actually food products, and it's like, we need more ice, and they're still open and they're not with their family. That's where I think you could have passion and love for your business.
Now, I actually think those are two separate things, though, because I have a passion for my business as well. Like, I feel called to do what I do, and I also have this passion. Like, I love to do it, but in a passionate way. I don't love it like it's a person. Like, I think there's a difference between loving a thing or a business versus loving a person.
Well, I'm going to tell you that because there's one thing. When you love a business, you succeed, and then as a business, you make the money from that. Whatever you put in is the money you're going to get out because you put so much time and effort in something. Now, and that's why I compare it to marriage. I could put the same equity in my love for this person, this and that, and I won't get the same thing back. She'll still cheat on me, or the guy will still cheat on her, whatever it may be. Everyone's putting 100% to receive, let's just say money and get what you put in. But in a relationship, in marriage only, in a relationship, you could get out of it easy. But in a marriage, you're married to that person. So whether you put 100% in and you get 40% back, that's where I don't agree with it. It's a human being making that decision not to give back what you deserve.
Okay. And so, yeah, by looking at it that way as a business, then I can see where your perspective is. Because it is I put in and I expect to get out. And so that's obviously, if that's the way you look at it, then yeah, it's a business. And you look at a marriage that way, then yeah, it's a business.
And it's not going to work in a marriage.
It won't work in a marriage, right? And I don't think a marriage should work like that. Now, the thing that is very prevalent today is that's the marriage statistic. Now I can't quote it because I'm not I haven't looked it up, but I believe
so I agree.
I believe it is around
it's
45.
Under 50%.
Yeah,
it's under 50%
of marriages actually making it. Whether you're a believer or non-believer, it doesn't matter. It's still that's the marriage statistic.
And no one would ever get into a business if the profits are going to be 50% less. Anything that you start doing in business, it has to be way more than 50%, or else why even spend your time doing it? You're not going to succeed, and you have under 50, at least 50%. You flip a coin, you can make it, get lucky, and survive and make it. But if it's like at 35, 45, no, I'm not even going to put my foot in that business. So again, that's how I see it with marriage. Like if there's only going to be a 40% success rate in my relationship where I'm going to invest my time, money into this person, and I only get 35 to 45% back, no, I'm not going to make that decision.
And that's why I see the perspective. I see it and I understand where you're coming from if you're taking it to look at a business. Now, because there's another component here that I have that you may not have, and that's the spiritual side of it. Well, there's two things. One is, yes, there's going to be times where there's some businesses that seem like they're tanking, but then the business owner really does something to bring it back up. And, relating that to business.
Like buying them flowers or something, and then you might get lucky one night, and then the rest of the month, nothing?
No. I'm just bringing that up to kind of connect the whole business thing, putting something into it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You give gifts to women, they enjoy, you get what you want out of that night, but then the rest of the time, it's nothing.
But if you're looking at it as a object versus something that, for me, like with the spiritual nature, it is a blessed union. Now, can those statistics be changed? I think so. But I also think that humans are just selfish. I think we all have our own thing, and that's
animals.
Why we can't get along.
We're in the animal kingdom.
Well, I don't think we're animals, but
it's a species. We're a species, and just like the lions, and I mean, trust me, I love National Geographic, and I just love the way the prides work, and I like Lion King too. But that's exactly how humans work, just like the Lion King. You know what I mean? Like two people are battling, this and that. This is my woman, and I'm a protector. I'm gonna kill. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna do whatever I could do, this and that. But that's just animal instincts. And human instincts, we have them exactly just like animals, but we react differently. Obviously, we can't go kill the other person because, they did something to my wife or whatever. I mean, we do, but you're not supposed to. So again, that's the only difference. But the mentality is still the same as animals. You take away mine without, nothing. I'm going to go and I'm going to fight you, to the death, as, animals do or whatever. Mentality wise, that's exactly what happens.
You know what? I do agree with you when it comes to animalistic behavior, because people do act like that. Now, do I believe that people have a choice and can choose not to act like animals? I believe so. I believe we actually have a higher calling, and this is where the spiritual nature comes in. And this is where we're gonna divide here, is when we're talking about human nature and spiritual nature. Because one of the things you're talking about is the sin nature, the human nature to do selfish things, to do what you need to do because you believe you need to do it. And that's just part of you. And I get that. So I agree with you in a sense in terms of being animalistic and doing things like animals. However, I also believe that we as humans have a higher calling to things, and that's the spiritual nature, the spiritual side of us, where we should be doing things at a higher level, at a spiritual level. And so although it can happen, I also think that we have a choice to take it to another level, to where marriage can be something that is such a blessed union. Now, it doesn't happen sometimes. And actually, a lot of times, if you look at the statistic...
45% times. Yeah. That's how many times.
Right. And so when you're looking at it that sense, you're going, yeah, it looks like it just doesn't work out well.
So don't you think statistics are there for a reason?
I think you can't argue with the statistics.
Correct, and that's my point.
Right. I don't think you can argue with them, but I believe that some people can do better.
Okay, well, show me the statistic on that.
Well, that's the thing is, I don't think we are doing a good job at it. Because I don't think we're
obviously,
following.
the statistics show that we're not doing a good job.
That's correct. And that's because I don't believe we're actually stepping into our purpose in the spiritual side.
And in my future, I don't see it getting any better. With social media and everyone, why does every girl want what it was, when our parents, were married or together or whatever, the standard, I'm Mexican. And still, I own a home in the front, but my aunt lives in the back with my aunt and uncle. She's still that at-home wife that raised all of us because, my mother was working and whatever. And she would stay home, take care of her kids, take care of us when we were kids. And the husband goes to work, gets a paycheck, hands it to the wife, and she takes care of everything. What's that woman called? The expectation.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Like back in the day, that's what it was.
Like traditional.
Traditional, yeah. That's the word. So women want traditional men, but the women these days ain't traditional no more.
Okay.
So there's no woman out there that I could meet over 20, anything over 21 years old, and in their thought process, they want to be what my aunt is. Meaning, I'm going to stay at home. I'm going to take care of the kids. I'm going to have dinner here. I know I'm going to open the gate when you get home. I'm going to welcome you, this and that. And dinner's already going to be served. You're going to go take off your work shoes, come back, sit down with your flip-flops, eat, talk, have a good dinner, make sure the whole household is good, clean, whatever's got to be. And then that's it. You go to bed and you do it all over again. I don't think there's a 21-year-old woman out there that has that mentality. But we have to be, we still, to that same 21-year-old woman, we still have to provide, protect, and make sure the money comes in. Only the money. So as long as the money's coming in, okay, you make over $100,000. Yeah, my man makes $100,000, but you don't love your man. My uncle doesn't make that much, but I know my aunt loves him more than someone because of what she does, how she shows it. So she takes care of him. And I don't think there's any new women out there that are about to get married are willing to take care of their man like that.
So I would agree with you that traditional marriage thinking with today's generation, the younger generation.
But it's only on the women's. Men still believe that. I still believe in traditional. I still will provide to my girlfriend. See, I don't believe in marriage. I believe I want to be with somebody the rest of my life. But it's not, the government's not going to be involved in it. You're not going to take my house if it doesn't work out because this is my mother left me this house, so you're not taking my mom's house from me, because of a marriage or because of government. You have better lawyers than I can, if we break up, we break up, but looking forward to that is like the men still believe that we need to provide, we need to protect and take care. We still have that at this age. Even a 21-year-old man will still do that. So, okay,
so there's something that I think is instilled. So I agree with traditional marriage as well. And I'm not going to define specifics of traditional marriage, but the overall thought of traditional marriage. Now, what do you think that comes from? Why do you think women then of these days, this newer generation, this younger generation of women, why do you think they think that way then?
Social media.
Okay, social media.
They're not being raised by parents anymore. They're not being raised by, how it used to be. And I mean, I was raised, I don't have a father, but my aunt is, my aunt and uncle, that kind of was a father figure to me. And, we grew up in the same, household. So that to me, I don't see exists anywhere. And when my dad got murdered when I was 3, my mother never touched another man in her life. Like, I remember as a kid, some guys would come over and take her out on a date. And, it was just, my sister was old enough to kind of watch us or whatever. I'm 3 or 4 years younger than my sister. And my aunt was there also. And I was so jealous. I didn't want no other, even though I didn't really know my dad, the guy, he goes, hey, we're leaving now. And I started crying, tantrums, whatever. And I grabbed the guy's arm and I bit it. And this and that, and my mother knew how sad I was for another man to take her out, or I don't even know what it was, but that's how I reacted. And my mother goes, you know what, I can't leave my children like this. If you want, I can make dinner here. We could watch a show or something like that, and then, and that's it. And so she did that. She goes, all right, fine, that's cool. And so she did that, and after that, she never saw another man, which is sad in a sense, I guess, if you're a woman, you know, because women need love too, and I get that. But we were her priority, and nothing else came in between that. Now she knew she was going to be a single mom, not because my father cheated on her or anything like that. It's just, you know, he passed. And so now she had to be the mother and the father, and she knew that as an instinct, being raised in Mexicali in the ranches over there. You know, when you're 5, when you got to go milk cows. You got to put the cows back in, the goats. You know, they survival of the land. And that's what she grew up with. To them, we see that as suffering. To them, they're surviving. They're making it work. So that's what I'm saying is 21-year-old social media is running them. Now you want to be a Kim Kardashian with fake butt, fake this, fake that. Everything's fake. My mother and aunts, every time they go out to parties, all they did was put their nice clothes on, but they never changed their look. They never put makeup. Every once in a while, they would do their hair and this and that, maybe some gloss or something because their kids put them on them. But besides that, they didn't need to impress anybody. You know, they knew their standard and they knew who they were.
Okay, so this is what I'm hearing. Now, you can agree if you think this is what you're saying. This is what I think you're saying. I think you're saying that traditional marriage isn't happening or isn't in the minds of our younger generation because there's no more traditional values.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes,
so you agree with that. And I agree with that too. So we're actually in an agreement here because we went away from traditional values. Now, for me, I think some of the traditional values we went from or are leaving is some of those biblical values, which have created a standard like traditional values with traditional marriage, right? We can talk about, you know, the man-woman thing, that's traditional. And nowadays, that is not looked at as something that that kids want to do today.
Right.
They want freedom to do whatever they want, but that means they're going away from traditional values, and that's part of traditional marriage also. They're going away from that stuff. And so you think social media is a big player in this? And,
100%.
And is that because they're being able to connect and kind of let these new values spread? Or what do you mean by social media? How is social media playing into this?
Well, back when we were younger, there was no internet, and I couldn't see super hot chicks from Alabama or all these influencers. I don't know why they even call them that. What are they influencing? Fake stuff? Like, what? That's not an influence. Like, my aunt and uncle are influencers. Like, my brother, you influenced me to be a better person. These people are influencing them like, oh, look faker.
Yeah.
What kind of influences? And they're proud to say that they're that. You know, if you ask them, well, what do you do? Well, I'm an influencer. There's everything fake on you. Like, who are you trying to be? You know, even like Cardi B, like the Kardashians. Also, you're only ugly because you're rich. I mean, because you're not rich. You're only pretty because you're rich. If you see a picture of Cardi B and what she looks like now, you don't think it's the same person. You know what I mean?
She had money, you're talking about.
Correct. You know, but I like her in a sense because she was broken. She doesn't hide anything. She tells you she was a stripper. She did this and that, so on and so forth. But yeah, now she's falling in the same category as the Kardashians because now she's got money. Now look at the 2 younger sisters in the Kardashians. They're gorgeous. Not because they were born that way. Doctors made them what they look like. So yeah, social media, and this is what we're breeding the new kids to be, is not breeding, you know, having kids, and this is what they're looking at. My daughter got a phone at 10 years old, and I still reached out. Facebook was out already. And I said, hey, it's 10 years old too young. But, you know, she lived with her mother, and, you know, I had her like 2 times a week. So for me, it was for communication. It was not for her to be on social media, so on and so forth. It was to communicate with my daughter. That's why I didn't think it was too early. But I still ask people, like, yeah. But now they're doing it for different reasons. It's not to communicate. It's to communicate to social media. And now they could post all that 15 years old with the makeup and, you know, twerking and all this. I'm like, it's a whole different thing. And that's what they're looking forward to be pretty and get a lot of followers. That's why social media is destroying what marriage was.
All right, we're going to stop it right there because we ran out of time. But I want to thank you for coming by and listening in. My name is Clint Armitage. This is the Radio Coffee House. And if you want to hear some more on marriage and some more of that ranting going on, make sure you come back next time. Until then, stay safe and God bless. Thanks for for joining us for another episode of the Radio Coffee House Show, where we're all about Jesus, coffee, and radio. We'll see you next time.